What's going on, guys? Large Fish Tanks here, and in today's video we will be building this Paludarium for Lenny over here. He's temporarily in this 75-gallon tank that I originally had for my angelfish but rescued the frog. So put him in here temporarily, bought this tank, have the glass set up there, and now I just need to silicone it. So I have silicone around all of the gaps. Now I just need to smooth it out with my fingers. And then when it is completely cured this time tomorrow, I'll take all the tape off the other side and then silicone that side as well, just so it is watertight. So it is later in the day and it hasn't fully set, but it's set enough to take the tape off, which I have already done, and then silicone the other side, so that just to save a bit of time, and then I'll be able to test it, put water in all the sections just to see if it leaks at all. And then if it's all good, then we'll be able to start adding the expanding foam. So it is the next day and the sun's starting to go down, so it's been 24 hours, so it's cured fully, and now let's fill it up. So we're starting to fill up, and so far so good. Let's keep going. That seemed to work super well. It is looking extra nice. As you can notice down here, I completely cleaned this off and added all of my hardscape materials. Still got a few more rocks and driftwood pieces that I have to add to this, but it is looking super nice. So it is the next day and it has zero leaks at all. It is working terrifically. So I managed to get this big piece of wood in here. I don't know how, I struggled to get it through that hole, but it looks alright. But I think I'm just going to like break it up into smaller pieces just to put around the water area, and then I'll just get some other bunch more plants for the land area. So I've got the lid situation sorted. I cut some bamboo in, like I split it in half and then cut it to the right length to be perfect size as the lids, then silicone them together with some mesh, so that is good. That just adds more aeration, will stop the glass from getting condensation on it, so you'll actually be able to see inside it, as well as this is where the UV bulb's gonna go, and UV light doesn't go through glass, so that will be perfect for that, so the frog will be able to be nice and healthy. So I'm about to take this tank down to do the expanding foam on the back side and in front of this little glass panel bit, but also I got a nice light for this tank that works very well, and this beautiful Boston fern, as well as a couple other plants like this creeping fig, this dichondra, some of this ivy, and maybe one of these coleuses to go into the paludarium that will look absolutely beautiful. So we've drained the tank fully and got everything out, and we've laid it on this blankets so it doesn't damage the glass at all, and we have some expanding foam and pots to do the background. So we've added all the expanding foam and it looks awesome. Completely made this even more watertight, and I added a couple pots in the background to add plants like this maidenhair fern, and then we'll be able to add a lot more plants, add the wood, which will look great in here, and a bunch of texture and bits coming out that I'll carve back, and then the frogs will love climbing on that as well. Okay, so now we are just trimming back all this foam to give it more of a natural look and to expose all this more foamy texture so that the silicone will actually stick to it for when we push all the core mulch block onto the background. So I've done the majority of the tank, and now just time for the smaller details and siliconing some smaller rocks onto the background, and then to add the core mulch to make it look so natural, and then we'll be able to add all the plants and wood. So I've just added silicone to all the background, and I'm going to use this brush to spread it out and get it all the cracks and crevices. Then I'll add the mulch block, but I sort of ran out before I got to this side, so I may need one more to do that, but let's see how it goes. So we put silicone on most of the areas and we spread it around. It was a bit difficult, got a bit tedious, but we have now pushed all the mulch core block onto it, and we're going to put it back up. Hopefully it sticks, clean out all of it, plant it up, and then because the plants will cover some of the imperfections, once that's done we can just add some silicone and push it on areas that really need it. But let's see how it looks on the stand. So lots of it actually stuck and it looks absolutely awesome, but I'll add the lids on, add a light, and wait till later in the day when there's less reflection on the glass. So it's already looking so epic with the light on, but we'll clear it off with a brush, sweep some things on, and clear out the pot that's here and there. You can't even see that one, and make the rocks more visible. So I've managed to brush most of it off the back. There's a little bit of areas we need to touch up, but for the most part it is good, and we'll cover most of it with ferns, creeping fig, ivies and stuff like that, so you won't see any of it, but we'll touch up some spaces that really need it once we've planted it all out. But now let's just clean out the soil that I brushed into the bottom, and then mix the substrate to add into the back, then plant it all out. So I have a mix of substrates, which is of some bark, peat, and poor mulch block, which is a good, nice, fluffy substrate mix that I'm just filling out the back here, which is working good. They'll be great for the plants, and then I'll be able to plant it up and make it look epic. And look how much awesomer and green that looks just by adding that massive Boston fern, and takes up a lot of the corner there, but that is looking awesome. Can't wait to add a bunch more of the plants and fully green this out. But next I think I'm going to add the maidenhair fern into this. Hopefully it fits. Might have to break it up into 2 halves, but the frogs are going to love this when it's all finished. And look at that massive maidenhair fern. We didn't have to split it up at all because the root ball wasn't too big, but that looks awesome. Fills it up so much. That looks so nicely. Look how green that is. This is looking awesome. Can't wait to get the rest of the plants in. Okay, so I added one of the dichondra in the back pot there, and that looks awesome hanging down. That will continue to grow out and cover. Filled up more dirt. Now time to add the driftwood that we're going to have in there, and then add a coleus, creeping fig, this plant in the spare spots in the bottom soil, and then the ivy. And that is all the wood added. I think that looks awesome. Looks like just some nice jagged pieces of wood just coming all the way down, maybe like just some roots from trees coming into the water. I think that looks epic. Now just to train some creeping fig all along those, and ivy up the back and stuff, with a nice bright coleus in the center, I think that will look awesome. And we are finished the planting. So I added a big ivy in the back there, as you can see, 2 coleus. They're not looking the prettiest now, as they weren't being so happy in the smaller pots that they were when I got them from the store, because I've been in there for a few days. But they should brighten up in here over the next few days. And the creeping fig was so big, so I just took some cuttings, as you can see, a bunch of cuttings in amongst it that I'm going to train along all this wood, which will look awesome. So this is looking epic. I will wait until nighttime to show you in full effect, when all the lights are off, no glare. But oh my god, now I need to do some water tests and see how that all works, and also to be able to clean all the soil that's dropped in the bottom there. So a little bit of condensation has built up, but that's okay. It will all go away by tomorrow, but it is looking awesome. I can't wait to add the frogs in here and add some duckweed in the water area. Get the sand. I'm thinking I want to go for a white sand. It's all the dark substrate that's gone to the bottom. Show me what it would look like with the black sand, and I don't want to do the exact same sand as the one next to it, and that's in that tank, so I don't want all the tanks to look the same. So I wanted to go with the white or black sand, and black sand too dark because the rest of it's quite dark, so I wanted to go with a nice white sand, and I think that will look awesome. So it is the next day, and this front bit of foam didn't stick to the glass properly, so it all floated up. But that's right, I think I'll just cut it out and then cover the glass bit at the back with rocks anyway, so shouldn't be too much of a problem, but let's see how it goes. So I cut the foam off. That was a bit tedious, but it worked, and I added the white sand. I think it looks awesome against the nice green plants. Will make the frogs pop, and drain the water. Got to add some rocks in front of this now just to cover it up. You can't really see it, but just to add a bit of extra, and then fill it back up again, and then this should be ready to add frogs. So added all the rocks, and I think that looks amazing. The rocks add an awesome effect, make it look a lot more natural, and I actually love how it turned out. Now just to fill it back up with water and see how it looks. So that is the finished product. I added some Liliopsis brasiliensis to the water part. I was going to add some Dwarfs Sagittaria, but I thought that might be a bit too big, but now that the lights are off and there's no reflections, that looks absolutely incredible. I love how it turned out. Can't wait to see the plants grow and cover the back and do, oh, I can't wait to add the frogs in a few days once the water has settled. So it is a few days later, the plants are doing super well and the water has dechlorinated now. So it is time to add the 2 frogs, little Kermit and Lenny. Let's get them in. So I'm going to do them one at a time. I have gotten Kermit, so now I'm going to be able to try to get her in without her escaping. So let's hope this goes well. There she is. She is in. Blends right into the substrate. Now I have Lenny and time to let him in. He's more eager to get out and he's more likely to escape if I let him. There he is. Now let's put the lid on quickly before he finds his way out. But there he is. On the top at the background, let me reposition this light. In the water straight away, loving it. So it's been a couple days later and the frogs have settled in super nicely. The plants are still doing super well, but the coleus aren't doing the best because we just decided to put a couple of the ones that weren't doing so well in here, but hopefully that one perks up. But there's Lenny over there and Kermit is chilling on the wood under the maidenhair fern. She is doing super well as well. But yeah, all the plants are doing super well, as you can see. The dichondra is growing nicely up there. The creeping fig cuttings are still doing well. The ivy starting to get its way up the background. Boston fern, beautiful as ever. The frogs have been loving to hide in amongst all these plants, and they work perfectly in here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.